The Notre Dame Fighting Irish just took down Penn State to punch their ticket to the national championship, and this has been an awesome year for Notre Dame. Like, you could stop the season right now, and obviously Fighting Irish fans don't want that to happen, but you could say end of season right now for Notre Dame and be like, man, incredible year, incredible foundation, incredible run, incredible story post-NIU and all that happened since then. Obviously now they want to go win a whole freaking national championship, but I think that even beyond this season now, this feels like just the beginning for Notre Dame. We'll talk about why we feel that way here in a matter of moments. Before we do that, though, if you're a Fighting Irish fan, one, congrats. We're going to be in Atlanta covering the national championship, so we'll see y'all there. Second part of that, though, make sure you are subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. Ton of content coming your way around the national championship, around the greatest sport that exists, that is college football. So, again, make sure you're dialed in. Make sure that you are subscribed. So I don't think there's any greater reason as to why I feel incredible about Notre Dame here in the future than who Marcus Freeman is and what he brings to the table as a head coach. And the exciting part about this with Marcus Freeman being your head coach, like, it's funny to say out loud, but like, he's still relatively new at this. Like, he's still been a head coach for only a handful of seasons. You don't think maybe in year 6 it'll look different than it looks right now? What about in year 7, year 8, in 10 years? And Marcus Freeman, assuming that he's the head coach that long, and it seems like he's a guy that's pretty content to be at Notre Dame, from what I can gather, he's only going to get better. He's only going to get better. He's only going to improve in this profession, and he's only, I think, going to continue to elevate because he's proven since he's gotten the job that's who he is. Like, he's not a guy that stays stagnant, not a guy that just, kind of sits back and says, let's see if this works. Even though it didn't work last year, let's kind of take our time with it. Not saying he's not patient or process-oriented, but he is a guy that, just like he's preached to his football team, going to challenge everything when it comes to assembling his staff, when it comes to assembling his roster. And it sounds sort of cliche, but like, I think it's the truth. And I think it's the truth because he's walked that out here multiple times. I've said it before. Need an OC? Go out and hire the best one there is. Mike Denbrock from LSU, who led the LSU Tigers to the best offense in college football under the Heisman Trophy winner, Jaden Daniels. Okay, got it. The year before that, hey, we need a quarterback. Go after Sam Hartman, one of the best dudes in the portal. Next year, need another quarterback. Do we go to the depth chart? You could, but we want to challenge everything. Go see if we can get somebody else. Enter into the fold, Riley Leonard, who's now got you playing for a national championship. Okay, so just it's this continuing upping of the ante that gives me a lot of confidence that Notre Dame is just going to continue to trend upward. It may not be linear, but overall, man, you take a step backwards and look at that graph, and you're like, okay, this is continuing to progress, continuing to climb, and Notre Dame is a real deal force under Marcus Freeman because of the ground they take year in and year out. In addition to that, the success they have right now gives them a lot of ammunition on a number of fronts. The first is on the recruiting trail, and we've said this before. Notre Dame, I believe, is truly now breathing different kind of oxygen than they were maybe a few months ago. Because a few months ago, you're talking about Notre Dame, and they're this team with, young, energetic, promising head coach, but they've got a couple of blemishes on the resume. Not just this year. The NIU loss is one thing, but previously there's the Marshall loss. There's the big games they get into, and I think his first game ever as a head coach lost to Oklahoma State, which, again, not really a fair spot to assess an individual from, but you talk about big games. It's New Year's Six Bowl. They were up on Oklahoma State, I believe, lost that football game, lose to Ohio State, in multiple games, like the big games for Notre Dame, in addition to some of these games they probably should have won, you're like, man, it leaves me wanting a little bit more. Fast forward the tape, Marcus Freeman and this team and his program overall evolves. They become, I think, a better line of scrimmage operation. They continue to kind of find their identity, and now they're in a spot where they are, again, a game away from winning the national championship. Because I'll say this, Marcus Freeman and this team, his roster overall, yes, they won these last 2 games, but they weren't the more talented roster. I don't think that's going to be the case here in the next 3 to 5 years. I don't think Notre Dame is going to continue to be at a talent deficit. Feels like a harsh word, but I'm just saying now, they're winning with, I think, a slightly lesser degree of talent than the opposition. Imagine what happens when they start recruiting consistently in that top 10 range. Because now, speaking of ammunition, you have that pitch to make to anyone and everyone all over the United States. If you want to walk into a living room in SEC country, you now can do that because of the credibility you have garnered, yes, by competing for a national championship, but because you beat the bully in the SEC in Georgia. You say, hey, you want to come play for us or you want to go play for them? Well, you can play for them if you want to, but just remember now, when we lined it up, we were the bully. We were the enforcers. We were the aggressors. So do what you want to do, but like, I'm just saying, men lie, women lie. The football field don't lie. And it told the truth about us on that day. So with that being said now, that ammunition is crucial to what I just said. I think the roster is only going to flywheel when it comes to the level of talent Notre Dame has. When it comes to resources now, Cato and I were talking before we did this segment. It's going to be a lot easier, I have to believe, just given what we know about human nature, to be able to look at Notre Dame this season and see that if I were to provide some NIL support to that operation for Marcus Freeman, it's going to a place where it's going to be utilized at a high level. Like, I'm not saying Notre Dame at any level of this thing is somehow in a position where they are begging for NIL, but I do think now if I'm a donor at Notre Dame or I'm a booster at Notre Dame or just a power that be, I'm like, okay, that's something that I can feel very confident putting dollars and cents towards. And we've seen now for the sport of college football, resources is becoming increasingly more important every single year. So again, I can't prove this. I don't know this without a shadow of a doubt, but the vibe that I'm getting here, if I'm thinking about the trajectory of Notre Dame, have to believe that the success on the field is only going to further activate the pockets within the Notre Dame community to make this roster even more formidable here in the coming years. So I've been pretty staunchly on the take that I think Notre Dame at some point has to join a conference. Said it for a while. I said at some point in this expanded playoff, not getting the bye is going to hurt them. Hand up, that's on me. I changed my mind. After seeing what they've done in this playoff run, Notre Dame will never join a conference until they actually have to do it. And I'm sure the NBC money is one thing. I mean, it's obviously a big part of this whole discussion. But to see what they've done in this playoff and to see them take advantage of their bye during conference championship week, be able to host a college football playoff game, like, I might just do that. Yeah, you got to play an extra game. And sure, that's probably a disadvantage in what the current format is right now. Who knows what the current format is 2 years from now, or the future format is a better way to say that. Who knows where we're at in 2026? Who's to say that Notre Dame doesn't find themselves getting a bye without joining a conference? All I'm saying is, with Marcus Freeman at the helm, with how this thing is humming right now, I'd be very content to say, yeah, we'll take the 5 seed. We'll take anywhere that's going to give us a home playoff game that first round. Y'all do what you want to do during conference title weekend. We'll watch, we'll get healthy, we'll get recovered, and we'll get after it when it's time to play win or go home football. And again, I think they've got a lot more of that ahead of them. So by nature of how they're able to recruit now, by nature of the optics around Notre Dame, no longer this team that's just standing on the shoulders of Rudy or the Golden Dome or the pageantry. Like, this is a real deal outfit now. Again, one game away from winning a national championship. So if you win a national championship, all this just gets amplified like 10x, but even if they don't get it done, even if the season, for whatever reason, just ended today, Notre Dame is very much so, I believe, in a spot where they are just scratching the surface of what the Marcus Freeman experience is going to be out there in South Bend. Personally, man, I'm all the way here for it. With what he's about, with how he operates, with the way that it seems like he inspires his team, I'd play for him tomorrow. I think a lot of other people would too. So with that being said, again, make sure you are subscribed. A lot more content coming your way around Notre Dame, around the national title game, whoever they're playing. Going to be a good time. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.